Hello everyone, welcome to the Watchalong stream for the Dalian Awards 2024. I've had a great time reading the chat over the last sort of 5 minutes or so. You'll be like, I want mod, I want mod. No, it's, I find it all very cool. I'm still absolutely starstruck that like I can watch a Dalian Award and there's so many people in my chat waiting for it to start. Honestly, it's like really, really humbling. So thank you all. It's time to see whether my bold claim that I made at the start of that Dalian video that Jerome Hughes will not win the Dalian, do I actually know anything about Rugby League? To clarify, hello everyone in the chat, thank you for all saying hi. Yeah, to clarify that point, I'm not trying to like back away from anything, but the point I was making is that history tells us Hughes won't win because the guy that we all think that is going to win hasn't won in recent years. If Hughes does win, that's great. I'm so happy, absolutely happy. I would love to be wrong, but yeah, I'm just not sure. I'm not too confident that he will. I think there's a couple of other guys who might take that away from him. I'd like to see who you think is going to take out the Dalian Award. I've seen a lot of you say James Tedesco, who had a 7-point lead over Hughes, I think, back in round 12 when voting went behind closed doors. But obviously, you know, that's not as big a lead as it used to be because now you can get a maximum of 6 points from each game. So we sort of have to like rework that. But it is still a lead. It is still a lead, and Teddy, I'm sure, had quite a few 6-point games between that point and the end of the season. So Hughes has got some catching up to do, but if justice exists, if the rugby league gods are watching down on us, then we'll see Jerome Hughes take out the award tonight. I can see Lancaster there with a comment saying, historically speaking, in order for the favourite, especially from a top team, to win, they need to have had put on a truly ridiculous year. And then that message has been deleted. Don't delete each other's comments, guys. I give out mod because it kind of means something, but don't go deleting the comments of others. Caleb says, who will win try/tackle of the year? Tackle, to me, has to be Tom Dearden's one back against the Broncos. It was in the early rounds of the year where he chased down Selwyn Cobbo. That was unreal. Try of the year, off the top of my head, is the Xavier Coates try against the Warriors, given the context. It was an insane finish. That was like, I remember that was right at the start of the Leaguie. I'd been going for like a couple of weeks and I was like, I have to harness this moment because it was just mind-blowing. So that's what I would say. Nozza says, any left field picks from teams that haven't had their usual superstars set the world on fire? That's the thing. I think it's super hard for the guys who aren't the superstars in those teams to accumulate many points because their teams aren't necessarily winning the games required to amass a lot of points. Yeah, I'm really not too sure off the top of my head. Always with a team like, for example, the Titans, you've got a guy like David Fafita who will always pick up a lot of points. Whether or not that's true this year, I'm not too sure. He hasn't particularly stood out much, but he always seems to do okay. Scott Drinkwater, I mean, he is a star of the Cowboys, but he's literally always up there every single year. So he could be up there as well. Let's see, Mike Cool. Hey, mate, just want to say, been loving your content for the last few months. Keep it up. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate your support. Thanks for coming along tonight and hanging out. And yeah, don't be timing out each other, guys, or I will, because I don't want to be threatening, but I can remove mod. It's like it's a title that I'm happy to give out, but yeah, don't be abusing that power. I'm gonna have a go at pronouncing that surname. Sardulius, is that correct? Sardulius. There's your shout out, my friend. Buggy says, Leaguie, who do you reckon deserves Dalian the most? Jerome Hughes definitely deserves it. And I'm a bit harsh. I think he's the only person that deserves it. A guy like James Tedesco, right, has had a very, very good season. And he may well win the award. But Hughes has clearly been the best player. And if you've clearly been the best player, to me, you're the one who deserves to win the award. Tedesco doesn't deserve it having been the second best player because the award isn't for the second best player. You know what I mean? So that's my perspective on it. Anyway, Danny says, one got a question I've got to ask every stream is, who is my uncle? too. Did you hear Galvin wants to stay at Tigers? Yeah, so firstly on Galvin, yes, and that's very good news for Tigers fans. If he can build along with this next crop that they're bringing through there at the Tigers, that's very good stuff. And your uncle, I believe, if memory serves correctly, was Ryan Pappenhausen. And if that is completely wrong, and I've just got that out of nowhere, then my bad. Goofy Edit says, Leaguie, I like your videos. Thank you. Let's see. Lancaster says, before all that, you got to be saying Hughes had a great year, but not enough to overcome the top team / favorite disadvantage. It's always tough. The thing that makes it not necessarily as true for Hughes this year is how much time Munster and Pappenhausen have spent out. So really, you've got, I guess, Harry Grant, who'll be taking points off him each week. But beyond that, maybe Tyron Wishart had a few very good performances, possibly him, but that's what makes me a little bit less confident in that claim this year, but it does still remain true, and I think it's still a valid criticism of the system as a whole. Because, yeah, if you hadn't had those injuries in Melbourne this year, then we'd be saying it's very true for Hughes. Buggy says, Leaguie, do you think Matt Burton goes anywhere near the top? Well, he's a guy who's... I mean, I know that the Bulldogs now have a good side on paper, but he is a star of that side. They did win a lot of games. He'd be competing against, Stephen Crichton and the likes, but I think we could see a surprise from him. He's well and truly... I haven't actually seen the nominations, but I would expect that he's in the running for 5/8 of the year. Maybe him, Tom Dearden, and maybe Jerome Luai. But I expect, he'll be in with the running. Arlo's son says, is Dally M being streamed on 9? I don't believe it is. I think Fox have exclusive coverage of it. Let's see. Roosters fan 01 says, being a Roosters fan, even I think Teddy doesn't deserve it. Yeah, look, I think he's had a very good season. But yeah, as I've said, Hughes is the one that deserves to win this award. So yeah. Oh, good. Sounds like I got Sardulius correct. So let's go. Okay, yeah, Burton is 5/8 nominated. That's good. Arlo Morland says, how long does it take to edit your vids, or do you get someone to do it for you? No, I do not have the money to get anyone to do that for me just yet. I do it myself. It takes about half an hour to edit a minute of footage. Editing is an incredibly long process, and I'm someone who has so many graphics templates and everything that I use. So if I was starting from scratch all the time, like a lot of people do, it would take even longer. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, to say the least. Also, all the nominations are on the Wikipedia page for the 2024 Dally M Awards, or several articles on the NRL website if you want to check. Yeah, I will. The thing is, I'm sort of using all of my devices to stream. I'm literally I've got my laptop with the stream up, I've got my phone as my camera, and I've got an iPad that I'm watching the Dally M on. So I will if I feel that I need to, but currently all quite occupied. For anyone asking for mod, I can't do it while the stream is on anyway. I do want to not just hand it out to literally everyone, because as I said before, it doesn't actually really mean anything. It's not like this all ruling power. You've just pretty much got a blue name in the chat. So I wouldn't get too excited about life as a mod. Roosters fan 01 says, what team do you support? That's a secret, state secret, can't be telling anyone. Mike Cool, do you get any money from your videos? Yes, on YouTube, once you pass 1,000 subscribers and a certain amount of watch hours, which I have passed, you get money from your videos. It's not much, it's not enough to make a career out of it yet, but maybe one day. That's the goal. Jordan says, the Leaguie has stated on multiple occasions that he follows the Shanghai Sharks. Yep, I love the Sharkies. Shanghai Sharkies, not Cronulla Sutherland Sharkies. Well, maybe Cronulla Sutherland Sharkies, we'll see. Lancaster with a very valid comment there. I still wonder how Luai qualifies for the 6 of the year when he spent more than half his games playing 7. System's weird. The system does account for that. I remember a number of years ago, Joseph Manu would have won Centre of the Year, but he'd played too many games at fullback. So we might see something like that. Maybe he played well enough at 5/8 to get enough points to be nominated, but he might not win the award because of the points he accumulated at halfback. The other thing is, which I don't think that they account for this in the rules anyway, but playing 6 and playing 7 are similar positions. They're in the halves. They're a lot more similar than say, playing center and playing fullback. So there might be a bit of that in there as well, but I doubt it. Wow, so many comments. I'll try and catch up as much as possible. Thank you for all of them. Aussie Edits Leaguie, are you going to post a grand final guide video? Well, I've posted why the Storm can win. I've now written the video for why the Panthers will win, that I'm aiming to have out tomorrow. So those together are like a grand final guide. I'm thinking as well of potentially making like a grand final blog. I mean, like I'll see in the chat now, if you guys are interested in seeing a grand final blog, let me know. Sorry, vlog, let me know, because I will also make like a grand final review video where I sit down like this and talk as I normally do. But if you're interested in vlog content, I could do that. Buggy says Tigers have had 2 amazing rookies 2 years in a row, but the NRL screwed over both in Rookie of the Year. Yeah, Buller probably deserved it last year, but look, Taruva was also very good. So we'll see how it plays out, but obviously Galvin can't win. Maybe in the coming years, if Talon Silva, he might still be eligible for next year. Not too sure how many games he played this year, but let's see. Noza, if you won't say which team you support, at least give us which state. No, can't do that. It's like I'd be punished by the government if I released any information on that. Danny, I don't know where you got Ryan Pappy from. It was Sam Walker. That fair? I don't know where I got Ryan Pappy from. Maybe it's because we talk about him a lot because he's Dutch. And no, Sam Walker, I remember that rings a bell now. I'll get it next time you ask. I promise, Danny. I promise. I value you as a viewer. Let's see here. Oh, and you're like the idea of vlog. That's good. Okay, I'll do the vlog for you then. Roosters fan says, if someone playing the grand final wins, do you think that will boost momentum? If they win the Dally M, will that boost momentum for the grand final? Look, their players certainly shouldn't require any more motivation for the grand final. I think you'd find if someone from Melbourne or Penrith wins the award, they'll get up on the stand and probably say, this is nice, but I'm very focused on this Sunday. I'm not going to celebrate it just yet. That's what I would expect. Anyway, of course, each player is different. Noza says, Taruva wasn't even the best winger nominated last year. My nan could look good on that Penrith edge. I'm like, well, get your nan out with an NRL contract, because she'll earn a fair bit of money if she can do that. Lancaster says, Buller has the right to feel hard done by IMO. Tito was absolutely solid, but Buller was great. Yeah, I mean, as I said earlier, each player is different, but the only thing that I guess makes me feel maybe a little more comfortable about that is that I doubt Buller cares all that much. Like, it would have been very cool to win Rookie of the Year. Certain players would value that quite highly, but I think he'd just be happy to have put a good season of first grade together and cemented his spot at the Tigers. I doubt that it would have really, hurt his confidence or anything. So, yeah. Con says, "Oh, what about the race with Josh, the Addo race car?" With Hamiso, that was also a very good tackle, but I think Dearden was just less expected. So, yeah. They are, by the way, they're confirming a lot of awards as I'm talking here. We haven't got the ceremony going yet, but there's a lot of people accepting awards for, say, top try scorers and all that. Currently talking with Olafiana Khan Pereira. So if you want to listen to, the actual players talk, feel free to mute me. Otherwise, I'll just keep waffling on and answering the comments that you guys make. Let's see. Noza, I think we can guess the team. It's too happy to be a Tigers fan, too nice to be a Rabbitohs fan, and we all know the Sharks and Titans don't have fans, so that eliminates 4 teams. You can come to whatever conclusions you want to come to. I'm going to neither deny or confirm anything here. Goofy says, how do you feel that Nelson has been banned for 5 games? I don't dispute how many games he's been banned for, because what people aren't talking about is the amount of loading that he had. So normally that tackle wouldn't be worth 5 games. In fact, it was only worth 4 games. It became 5 because he unsuccessfully challenged it. I said in my Storm video that I don't think he should miss out on a grand final, because those are just... they're so rare, they're so special, and I think that would you not be more excited for this grand final on Sunday if Nelson was playing? But that being said, it's a really tough can of worms that I haven't properly thought through, so I'm not definitively saying that he should be playing. And yes, Goofy's correct in saying that it was the challenging that allowed it to be 5. Lancaster says, I'm surprised Hammer got nominated for 1. Didn't seem to stand out. Turbo had an equal number of games and was better in most. I would agree with that, but that's probably another symptom of the system, because Turbo's competing with Cherry Evans, with Luke Brooks, who had a very good year. It got guys like Tolu Cole or Jason Saab who've had individually brilliant games. Lehigh Hopewadi has. Whereas Hammer, the Dolphins put in a decent season, but that's probably not as true for him. So it's a lot easier for him to amass points. As much of a star as Torovic is to Manly. Krishan, Leaguie, I'm hoping James Fisher-Harris gets the prop of the year. Well, he's another guy who, yeah, if you say he's the best forward but at least best prop forward in the NRL, I'm not going to argue against it. Maybe Payne Haas is the only one that's better, but I don't know how many points Haas would have been amassing this year, because Broncos didn't win very much. So it could be Fisher-Harris, but as I will find myself repeating a lot tonight, it's harder for him to win these awards. Arlo says it's his first Dally M, which awards are handed out, and Buggy's answered that for him. Krishan says, Leaguie, I seen Xavier Coates at the red carpet. Was that on the coverage, or are you there? Are you in attendance? But yeah, I mean, he'd be there at least for the try of the year, so it doesn't shock me. Lancaster says, I think Aitken, as in Taryn Aitken, is probably the favourite for the women. I was so confident it would be her last year, and she just lost out to the Knights fullback, whose name is escaping me. That's frustrating, because she's such a good player, that Knights fullback. It will come to me. Anyway, yeah, I was so confident she would win. She, I think, is the best women's player in the world, but she was injured for at least a couple of games this year, and given that they only play a 9-round season, missing 2 games makes it really, really hard. So she could win it, but I suspect what we're going to see is her leading, and then, because she was injured towards the end of the year, she'll fall back at the end. Danny, I do somewhat understand why, because had the Roosters gone through, Collins wouldn't play either, so take that as you will. And yet, that's a completely valid argument. I think possibly that would have been a controversy in itself, because I suspect the Roosters would have applied for a special dispensation for Collins to play, and that would have been a whole media circus, but yeah, I expect he probably would not have played. So yeah. Let's see what else we got here. Tiger says, who's your favourite mod? I can't pick between my fans, man. Don't put me in that position. Tamika Upton. Yeah, that's her. Yes. Lancaster says, speaking of DCE, I think Manly probably need to win a premiership the next 3 years. If they want to win in the 2020s, will take at least 5 years to recover after DCE goes. Well, are you saying there that DCE will last another 3 years? Because he's so old. Like, full respect to him, because it is genuinely very surprising to me how old he is. But let me just have a little Google here to confirm, because I don't want to get it wrong. Daly Cherry Evans, I think he's like 30. Yeah, he's 35 years old. So 3 years, he'll be 38. That would be crazy for a halfback. So next year could be his last year. And no one's expecting it to be, because his form is so good and we don't hear about him retiring. But he'd be 36 by the end of next season. That's super old, respectfully to him. Lancaster says, Turbo's body seems closer to giving out more than ever this year. Gerbo won't play too much longer. Manly's definitely a must-win soon. Yeah, well, DC's age only makes that more true. And on paper, they do have a good side. If they push for top 4 next year, it wouldn't shock me. It'd be very impressive, but that's what they would be expecting to do internally. Also, that's a pretty funny comment about you and Aiken. Con says, can you tell me about what you thought of the Bulldogs season this year? Obviously, incredibly impressive. I didn't see it coming. In my predictions video, I can't remember exactly where I predicted them, but it was like one of my worst predictions, and it caught everyone off guard. Serraldo just didn't really seem to work in the first season at Canterbury, and they'd made some good signings, but the amount of utilities that they signed, I think people were quite concerned about them. But yeah, they'd be disappointed to have gone out week 1 of the finals. They would have at least wanted to get to week 2 and have a shot at beating the Roosters, but a really impressive season from them, and the key is building on it for next year and not being one of these teams that we see so much where they shoot out of nowhere into the top 8 and then just disappear this season afterwards. Goofy says, how do you feel about Madge Maguire being the new coach for Bronx? When Kevy was sacked, which surprised me, I thought he'd be given a decent chunk of next year. Literally the only name that had me excited from a Broncos perspective was Madge. Guys like Josh Hannay, Jason Demetrio, I just didn't think... Like, okay, they might have worked out to be very good, but they didn't get me excited. And as a New South Wales fan, I am very disappointed to see him go, because I was looking forward to what he was building. But the Broncos fans should be very excited. I back him to do quite well there. Green Cobra, hi Leaguie, I'm here. I can't stay for long. I have a party, some mates coming over, so yeah, no worries. I'm glad that you come and hang out anyway. Danny, thoughts on the Tigers' spine next year? Super exciting. Buller with another season under his belt is going to be good. Luai, well, okay, actually it will be Galvin at 6. Galvin with another season under his belt, it's going to be brilliant. Luai, I am as big a fan of as you will find. I back him so much to do well at the Tigers. And of course, people are going to be hating on him no matter what. But he's shown this year, as he's shown throughout his career, he is a good player independent of Nathan Cleary. So we'll see that from him next year. But they might not make the finals. And, you know, if they finish 12th, there's going to be so many Luai haters who come out and be like, oh, I told you so. He only took them to 12th. But we have to realize that is impressive right now for the West Tigers. That's where they're at. And then Appy Coruscant. Yeah, what can you say about Appy? He's just incredible. Danny says DC will be gone by 2026. Yeah. Roosters fan, are you based in Sydney? Half the time I'm in Sydney, half the time, as I'm currently, I'm in Canberra. Let's see what I'm so far behind on these comments. Lancaster says it's clear the post-origin collapse of the Broncos was actually 14D chess to get a chance to get Madge away from the Blues. Oh, they were well and truly ahead of the game there. They were multiple moves ahead. So no, but he'll be a good coach for them. I'm rather confident of that. If I've missed your comment, it's just because there's so many. But if you got a good question that I've missed, feel free to ask it again, and hopefully I'll catch it the second time. Also, what happens with Latu Fainu, I wonder? Perpetual Tigers 14, or does he go somewhere else? I know some Tigers fans who rated him higher than Galvin at the start of the year. I was well and truly in the camp of rating him higher than Galvin at the start of the year. I had never heard of Galvin. My first video was a West Tigers season preview, and I literally didn't mention Galvin. That people were talking about him at the time, but I was like, nah, this 18-year-old kid is not going to be 5/8 for the West Tigers. And he was, and I was totally wrong. I do think your question is very valid, because Luai is not an old halfback. Galvin is absolutely not an old halfback. So unless one of them leaves the club, I think Fainu's future is not at the Tigers. He'll have to find somewhere else, which is amazing. But that path is kind of blocked, it must be said. So, yeah. Arlo Sun said, this is controversial. I live in Wollongong, but I go for the Sharks. That is controversial. I won't comment on that rivalry, but I mean, I guess I respect you daring to follow Cronulla living in Wollongong. Goofy says, how well... Oh, sorry, as we see Tom Dearden win 2024 Tackle of the Year, as I thought he would, on Xavier Coates. I think we all learnt how fast he was when he did that. And Selwyn Cobbo is a fast man, but Dearden, being the young co-captain of the Cowboys, didn't give up, so respect to him. Goofy Edit says, how well do you think Dogs will do next year? It's super hard to say. I expect that they will continue to do well based on what I've seen this year, but we do see teams, as I said, shoot out of nowhere and then disappear. It was Warriors this year, disappeared a bit. Cowboys the year before that. So hopefully they won't be one of those teams, but they can, and inherently we don't expect them to disappear, so it's hard to say whether they will. Danny says, and 12th is a massive improvement from a wooden spoon. Yeah, this is about Leaguie again, yes. And can set up a finals position. Yeah, so Tigers fans like yourself will put it into that context. I think a lot of Leaguie fans will probably feel validated themselves next year, but that won't actually be the reality. Roosters fan 01, I can't watch the Dally M. Can you give an update on it? Yeah, I'll be talking about the awards as they come in. As we see now, try of the year for Xavier Coates. So there we go. I'm 2 from 2. I predicted those two correctly. Let's go. His try was absolutely unreal. We'll see replays of it in a moment, but the context of it, it was one of the most insane moments I have ever seen in rugby league. It was the most insane moment of this season so far. We might see something better in the grand final, but as we'll see here on the replay, he jumped from so far out. You don't see wingers jumping from that far out, and just literally sailed through the air. Dallin Watene-Selesniak did everything he could. But, Kurtz got the ball down. And if he hadn't done that, the Warriors win early in the season down in Melbourne. Melbourne's confidence takes a bit of a hit. Do we see a different season play out? You'll never know. Let's see what else we got here. Lancaster says, I can't wait to see Leaguie at the Tigers when he's 7 and the Panthers play his style. It's very off the cuff, Benji style, but with the Panthers discipline. Take that to Tigers, huge potential. Yeah, and under Benji, as you mentioned, if Benji backs him, which he will be, otherwise, wouldn't have signed him to the club. Yeah, the Tigers are going to be hard to handle. And they're a club who don't have anything to lose anymore. If they finish, let's say they finish in last again next year, it's going to be disappointing, but it's not going to be any more disappointing than it was this year, right? So they're going to be a club willing to play off the cuff with no expectation, no pressure, and that can be a really dangerous side. They can pick up a number of pretty good wins across the year. Maybe not consistently enough to make finals, but optimistically, maybe. Green Cobra, I swear this music in the background is on every stream but still hits the same. I actually was going to mention that earlier. I didn't get around to it. Do you guys want the music in this stream specifically? Because the coverage is going to have a lot of music on it, I would imagine. They're going to be doing all sorts of production stuff. So if you don't want to be listening to multiple things of music at the same time, I'll turn it off, but let me know in the chat. Jordan's leaving, but see you later. All good, no worries. Let's see what else here. Luke Broden says, is the NRL becoming too predictable? Past 2 years, only Roosters, Panthers, and Storm have won the GF. That stat is pretty damning, but I'd say that there's a lot more context to it. Look at the teams they've played in those grand finals. In that time, we've seen Raiders play grand finals. We had Cowboys a year before that. 2 years before that in 2017. We've seen Parramatta, we've seen South Sydney, North Queensland have come close even since that 2017 final. Sharks were in the final before that. And also pair that with the fact that we see these teams come out of nowhere like the Bulldogs this year. We do have a very even competition when we look at the ladder. So yeah, when you look at the premiers, sure, but I think that that's a sign that there's a lack of quality coaches rather than the playing rosters themselves aren't equal enough. I think it's quite clear. Those 3 teams, those 3 coaches have been in for a long time now. Aside from Ricky Stewart, I expect that Robinson, Cleary, and Bellamy are probably the 3 longest serving coaches in the comp. Someone can correct me on that if I'm wrong, but off the top of my head, that would be the case. So, goes to show something. What else have we got? Oh, Goose has given his early ladder predictions there. Damn, you got... My eyes went to the bottom there, and you've got 3 of the biggest teams in the NRL. Roosters, Broncos, and South Sydney. What, you think Souths with Wayne Bennett could win the spoon? They're your predictions. Broncos with Magic can win the spoon. Yeah, I won't. There's definitely some things there I disagree with. But I always fall into the trap of thinking everyone's going to do well next season. Like, I always predict about 12 teams to make the top 8 and the remaining 5 teams to finish 14th or above. So yeah, I'll have to sit down and probably put in those other predictions at the start of next year. And we've got Keep the Music. Okay, cool. I'm glad you guys like the music. I randomly picked it one day. It's a 12-hour long video and I just let it play through. So I'm glad you guys like it. Danny says Roosters are going to be trashed next year though. Well, yeah, I mean, I expect that they will struggle early in the year. As you say, with your uncle, Sam Walker not being there, Brandon Smith not being there, but despite the players they're losing, I think we'll still look at their side and say this is at least middle of the pack. To me, no side with James Tedesco is missing finals. And I know they've come very close in recent seasons, but I would be surprised if they were that low next year. They could be, but yeah, I don't see that personally. But of course, you know, I'm not right. I'm not wrong. You're not wrong. So is what it is. Kayla says, yo, VB hardest working player of the year. That's not a shock at all. He's such a consistent player. He is so consistent. He does those numbers every week. He's never below an 8 out of 10. So it doesn't shock me at all. As they're talking to James Tedesco now, one of the regarded as one of the 2 contenders this evening. We'll see if someone else potentially comes through, a bit of a dark horse. Lancaster, on the note of it being a predictable comp, says, for me, it's just simply that those 3 clubs are run the best admin. That's why they're consistently there and everyone else shoots and falls or shoots and scores. Yeah, that as well. And I mean, that does stem from a strong head coach. We see coaches often being held accountable for the way things are from an admin point of view. So while probably in reality they are a bit more separate than we would think, having a strong figurehead does help the admin to an extent. So yeah, I back that for sure. Let's see what else we have. Buggy, Leichhardt Oval, best atmosphere in the comp. Thoughts? I made a whole video on why we should ditch Leichhardt Oval, so I might not give you the answer you want there. Atmosphere is very, very good. Best in the comp. To me, I love the stadiums that have the roofs that kind of curl in, like Amy Park in Melbourne has that, Allianz Stadium has that, Combank has it to an extent. It traps the noise, and so that creates a very good atmosphere. To me, the best atmosphere I have ever experienced was, I'm going to say, the 2022 All-Stars at Combank Stadium. It was so loud. It was so loud. So, yeah, I personally, for reasons other than atmosphere, I think Tigers would be better off if they focused more on Campbelltown than on Leichhardt. Goofy Edits, do you know where they post who won the medals on social media? Not specifically. I would expect that you'd get the most frequent updates on Facebook or Twitter. They'll post the winners of the big awards on Instagram and all that, but not necessarily like Tackle of the Year. I wouldn't expect. I might be wrong. I'm not checking as we go on, but yeah, I wouldn't expect that they do. Tiger Walker says Tigers missed finals with Teddy in 2012 to 17. Yeah, I'm talking about current James Tedesco, and he was, you know, very good at the Tigers, but he's a better player now. Certainly, I think. Green Cobra, how do you think Rabbitohs will do next season? Much, much better with Wayne there. He has shown that he could get the best out of that roster before. If I would tip them to be in the finals next season. Campbell Graham coming back from injury as well. They've had so many injuries this year. They're a finals team for me. They're one of the 12 teams that I will say will finish in the top 8. Nozza, how well do you reckon the Union converts go next year? Nwanganitawase. There you go. See, I know how to pronounce that name, by the way. Mark Nwanganitawase. Looked good in his game and could be a starter if he shifts to centre. Don't know if Carter Gordon gets a squeeze in, though. Yeah, have high expectations for Nwangani Tawase. When I first saw his Union highlights, I thought he was more suited to centre anyway than wing. A lot of the time he was playing inside of the wing. So, yeah, it will take a while for him to really nail down the sort of defensive systems. We say that, well, you see players say that centre is the most challenging position defensively. You're so often the one who's isolated with two players running at you and you have to decide who you're going at. So it will take a while for him to adjust to that, but we'll see how it goes. Carter Gordon, I think we'll see him over the course of the season. He's a half. I don't think he'd displace Kieran Foran unless we see a real drop off from Foran. But the issue for the Titans is how many players they have there to fit in. Jaden Campbell, Keanu Kinney, and AJ Brimson all have to occupy either fullback or 5'8". So if you have Carter Gordon coming in then at 5'8", that's another piece of the puzzle to try and fit in. It's really tough. I'm glad that I'm not the one that has to solve that problem. And I almost expect we might see someone depart Gold Coast across this off-season. We see such a shortage of quality halves. I know Brimson is signed for a long time, but maybe Jaden Campbell, if there's a side out there that needs a 5'8", someone might come in for Campbell. We'll see. Bosty Bro's given his predictions there for the positional awards. I won't read through all of them, but I think that those are pretty decent predictions for sure. Actually, a lot of you have given your predictions. That's cool stuff. And I see Bosty says rookie Kyle Iro. Yeah, of the ones that were nominated, to me, if you'd asked me at round, I'll say 17, it would have been Ethan Strange without a doubt. But yeah, he did struggle a little bit towards the back end of the year, and Iro did stay perhaps a bit more consistent. Buggy, Leichhardt Oval's been saved anyway, so that video is dated. Oh, that's that's harsh saying the video is dated. It's not I wouldn't say it's dated. That's still my opinion. Even though they have saved it, I'd still hold that opinion for sure, for the same reasons as I did at the time. What else have we got here? Buggy, bro, if you went to Campbelltown, you'd know how awful it is to watch footy there. It's so dead and boring. I have been to Campbelltown. I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I think a lot of that is the fact that the Campbelltown supporters feel somewhat disenfranchised by the Tigers, who have this affinity with Leichhardt. If you ask what the Tigers' home ground is, people think Leichhardt way before Campbelltown. So if you did focus more on Campbelltown, which is a much richer growth area for rugby league, I think you'd see a lot more people coming to games, and so then that atmosphere would improve. The award ceremony properly has started now. So the way they do it, in case you guys haven't watched the Dally M before, we'll do some countdowns for the the NRL rounds, and then for the NRLW rounds, and we'll have certain awards here and there, such as awards for community work and all that stuff. Lancaster talking to Teddy about Jerome reminds me when Ponga got the winning point and just gave SJ a really awkward look. It was sort of awkward. It was actually, I thought it was really cute. I rewatched that footage when I made the Dalian video. He put his head on SJ's shoulder. I thought that was a really cute moment. But yeah, you do know it's flawed when the winner looks to the actual best and fairest of the year like that, for sure. What else we got here? There's Cooper Cronker's giving his favourites for the Dally M. He mentions Hughes first. Dylan Edwards, he says, was lead, and yeah, Edwards was leading. I don't think Edwards is a competitor, personally, because I think he was good. He was fine throughout the rest of the year, but maybe not enough to be picking up enough points. Noza says Gorton was also playing centre in Queensland Cup. Yeah, well, if that's where they see him playing, I mean, you already probably will have, if those players stay, you'll already have Brimson as one centre. So then if you have Gordon at the other centre, Brian Kelly doesn't have a spot. Jojo Fafita might not have a spot unless he's on the wing. Phil Sami. They've just got so many players up there who you'd all expect to be, in and around first grade. So it's a tough spot for Des Hasler to be in. Danny says, Galvin's from Campbelltown, so clearly we're doing something wrong by not focusing more on Campbelltown. That's sort of my point, yeah. When you look demographically, Campbelltown is another Penrith. So everything that the Panthers are achieving now in terms of the success they're having with juniors, the Tigers can have a similar level. Definitely. And Tiger Walker there doing God's work by getting people to subscribe to me. Thank you, mate. Lancaster Edwards would be up there if not for the injury ruining his back after the year. But yeah, that's sort of the point that I was making. He was super tough in continuing to play, but I don't see him picking up too many points. Okay, I finally got to hear the comments. My God, thank you guys for all of that. As I said before, if I miss anything important, you can just say it again, and I'll hopefully get to it the second time. Swerve says Dolphins will be good enough to make top 8 next season. They've just signed one of the Saifidis. I always forget which one it is, whether it's Daniel or Jacob. But I think that's an improvement on Jesse Bromwich, at least 34-year-old Jesse Bromwich. We'll have Christian Wolf as their coach, who I think is very good. Not Wayne levels, but he's a very good coach. Tom Gilbert will come back. So, yeah, I agree. Dolphins will be good enough to make top 8 next year. Whether they will make top 8 next year, I think there'll be 8 teams that are better than them on paper. So I think early tip for the third year in a row, they might be just outside of that top 8. But we'll see. Roosters Fan 01, can you do a meet and greet? I haven't yet met any of you. I'm going to be at the NRL Grand Final. I'm going to be wearing this green suit jacket. I know you, for some reason you guys can't tell that this is green. No one else in the world can tell that this is a dark green but me. But definitely on the cards when I get a bit bigger. I've got 2,000 subscribers. It's not a huge deal at the moment, but I'd love to meet you guys with any opportunity to do so. Oh God, Tiger Walker talk. If you guys weren't here for the last stream, Tiger Walker introduced me to the fact that mustard flavored ice cream exists, and it absolutely ruined my day. I cannot believe, and I struggle to comprehend that I live in the same reality as mustard flavored ice cream. I refuse to accept it. So, yeah, not happy to have heard that. Green Cobra got to go. All good. See you later. Buggy's out here promoting my videos. Thank you, my friend. Caleb says Leagues are definitely a Wigan Warriors supporter. I don't know. I follow the Super League, and my favorite team kind of changes quite a bit. So I don't have one rusted on, but no, I wouldn't say that it's Wigan. Luke Broden, do you think Titans will ever win the comp? And if not, then why? Well, ever is a bloody long time. So I'm definitely not going to say no. But we have yet to see a Gold Coast sports side be successful, at least to my knowledge. So that would be a decent reason to say why not. But they've recruited well in recent seasons. It should be relatively easy to convince people to live on the Gold Coast. I think Des Hasler is an outstanding coach, so they've currently got the ability to do it, looking in the short term. They're probably, like a lot of teams, one high quality halfback away. There were some rumours, I think earlier this season, that, or maybe last year, that Jerome Hughes wanted out of Melbourne and he wanted to go back to Queensland and the Titans were interested. That obviously proved not to be true, but could you imagine that Titans side with Hughes in it now? That's how close they are to being contenders. We've got... Literally every time I answer like a comment and then look back, there's like 20 more. It's crazy, but thank you. JRP, Leaguie possibility of no World Club Challenge if Penrith and Wigan/Warrington wins the GF. Yeah, if they do, I expect that we won't have a World Club Challenge. Because the World Club Challenge is always organized on a year-on-year basis. I love it, right? Because I grew up overseas, for those of you who don't know, I grew up in Europe. So the World Club Challenge, because it was mostly played in England, was my only opportunity to ever see an NRL team. And so I loved it when we'd see the teams come over to England and play. So the World Club Challenge means a lot to me, but yeah, the fact that they're playing in Vegas, I think just makes it super hard for there to be that World Club Challenge. And yeah, I expect that people won't try too hard to try and organize it. Gary Costa, do you see Lomax winning Winger of the Year? If so, should he still move to centres at the Eels? Yeah, I don't know if he will move to centres at the Eels. Whether Mike Acevo is at the club next year still seems very much in the air. I haven't seen much of what Jason Riles has said since then. Perhaps he has said that he wants Acevo there, but not to my knowledge. You've got obviously Pensini in the centres. Blaise Talangi, who was their other centre, is leaving to play 5/8 at Penrith. So there is a spot there for Lomax, but maybe they'd move Simonson into the centres and have Lomax on the wing. And yeah, to answer the first part of your question, I think we're going to see Lomax win Winger of the Year. That would be my prediction. Or at least one of them. Roosters fan is going to the GF. Well, as I say, anyone here that's going to the grand final, if you see me there, absolutely come say hi. Zion Breyer says, where can you watch the Dally M Awards? KO or Fox? Otherwise, I will be saying, what's going on. Who wins the important awards, so you can stick around here if you want to know the results in real time. Danny, a lot of teams will be good enough to make the top 8. Tigers on paper, top 8, whether you have that drive. Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm going to predict 12 teams to finish on the top 8 next year. Buggy says, Super League is actually surprisingly popular. I wouldn't expect many England fans to watch it, but I think the English just love their sport. Yeah, and I don't know if you've ever met a fan of a Super League club, but they are so diehard. All of them. They're incredibly diehard. And in fact, Super League fans have a sense that NRL fans aren't as diehard. Are a little bit more plastic. And we in Australia, we express the love for our club differently. We don't sing chants at the ground, right? We'll do these, stock standard little rhythmic songs, but they have full-on like English Premier League style songs with lyrics about players. We don't do that, but it doesn't mean that we care, any less than they do. Lancaster is Volandi's going to be making an appearance dressed like the Godfather again. I've already seen him, and yes, he looks a little bit like the Godfather or the Penguin. I think he's probably got a bit more Penguin about him. Buggy says, that's why you sound a little British, because I grew up overseas. Yeah, that'd be it. I mean, I moved back to Australia 3 years ago. 3 years ago, I would have sounded way more British than I do now. So, yeah, it's worn off a little bit. Nozza, instead of predicting who makes the top 8, predict who's dropping out. That's a question. Let me think. I would say Newcastle are the most likely side to drop out. Roosters are a chance of dropping out for sure. Other than that, I think Cowboys will still be good on paper. Sea Eagles, I think, will still be a top 8 caliber side. But the problem is Broncos are top 8 caliber. Souths are top 8 caliber. Parramatta, even at their best, will be top 8 caliber, I think. So there's only so many spots there in the top 8. And yeah, Target, you're right about the chance. Yeah, it's the drum beat and it's the name of the team. So yeah, they do it a bit better. Buggy says best chant in Aussie footy is off. Yes, that's always a good one. JR Pete says, Leaguie, you sound more like a South Australian. I have never been to South Australia, so I've got to say that is pure coincidence, but maybe, yeah, it's the mix of lots of different accents. And yeah, I didn't really know that there are, like, you can tell the difference here in Australia. To me, everyone sounds the same. Gary Costa, I'm new to the channel. Who do you support and who is your favourite player? Yeah, I can't say who I support. That's a secret. Favorite player is a good question though. I'll list a number of players because, like, if I just say one player, you're all going to be like, oh, that's who he supports. I love AJ Brimson. He's a great player. You know, I mean, look up on the background. AJ Brimson's there. I love Connor Watson. He's not actually on the background, but I love him. Bradman Best, huge Bradman Best fan. Mostly because of that try he scored in State of Origin. What else we got? Jason Saab, love Jason Saab. Stephen Crichton, Nico. I'm a Nico Hines fan, so there's some examples for you. Lancaster, I'll take Newcastle, Manly, and Dogs. Newcastle rely too much on Ponga. Manly's too inconsistent. Bulldogs will regress to the mean, but will close and likely be back in 2026. Yeah, those are, excuse me, those are not likely, but maybe the most likely. Just ate dinner before this. That'd be why. So they're showing now, actually talking about the Dally M for a bit, the NRLW leaderboard when it went behind closed doors in round 4. Lauren Brown of the Titans was leading it. I would say that a little dark horse is Olivia Koenig from the Roosters. She's a back rower. She's one of my favourite players in the NRLW. She was super impressive for them. So, and actually, I thought she had a really good back end of the year, so I'm surprised to see her already that high up. I'd be really shocked if she at least doesn't win the positional award. That's my dark horse, but, if we see it be someone like Tamika Upton again, that's not a shock. I don't think we'll see Lauren Brown win it. She was leading, but the Titans did fall off a little bit. So... yeah, if you guys have predictions, I know not everyone follows the NRLW super closely, but if you've got predictions, let me know. Tiger says, I always knew you didn't sound like an Aussie. GRP says, Gary, the way he says, Do I say in a weird way? Tiger says, Leaguie Titans fans, confirmed. Buggy, Leaguie, would you have been an NRL superstar if you hadn't done your knee? Oh, of course. 100% I would have. That was the only thing that ever stopped me. That and the fact that the system was inherently rigged against me, because when I played in the juniors, I was way better than everyone else, and everyone else's parents complained, so I got low-key, told not to play. I was never picked. And it was just because I was way too good. DJ ZZ, how's it going, Leaguie? How's it going, DJ ZZ? Buggy says, Leaguie def supports someone from New South Wales, but who? Well, if you're doing that based on the fact that I follow New South Wales in Origin, keep in mind that I didn't grow up here, so I don't have particular allegiance to, Queensland or New South Wales by virtue of being from there. I support New South Wales because when I was growing up, it was during the 8 in a row period, and they were always the underdog. So that's a big reason for that. Kayla said Tegan Berry Smokey for the Dally M women's. Well, looking at the leaderboard now, she's not on there at the end of round 4. So I think definitely a maybe far-fetched Smokey, but not impossible. I mean, the Dragons didn't have a very good year. So Emma Tonegata gets maximum 6 points from her game. 5 points for Julia Robinson, who goes up to 5th place. Sharks Tiana Penatani now goes up to 4th. Abby Church doesn't quite take the lead, but equals it up. Samima Taufa from the Raiders goes right up there. And Lauren Brown, with a big 6 points, consolidates that position. Now we'll get another round coming now. They're going to talk about the Roosters and Raiders game. Tiger says, I've got a hot take. Someone will win the Dally M. Someone will. Lancaster, I'd have been an NRL superstar if I wasn't bad at the sport. I won't swear because YouTube doesn't like that. Buggy says, bro, why are they doing every round now for the NRLW? They've done that for a while. I mean, the whole thing lasts for about 2 hours, the whole ceremony. to my memory anyway. So it'll last a while. Tiger says the way he says sushi is weird. Yeah, I'm a sushi guy. I'm not a sushi guy. A lot of my like British friends say it's sushi, but no, I say sushi. Ellery of Brisbane, Hughes should win hands down. I agree. Hughes should win. Whether he does is a different matter. Nozza, nuclear take. Okay, you've set this one up. Let's see what we got. After last year's fiasco, they'll award a dual award to Hughes and Tedesco, so a New South Wales team wins again without causing another uproar. Well, that's certainly quite the accusation, because it means that it would have to like arrange the votes so that that's the way it played out. Got the independent judges to vote in particular ways to set that up. But, you know, we could see it happen. I think they'll be close to one another. Like that year Tamalolo and Crunk both won it, yeah. He says he supports the underdogs. Leaguie Titans fan confirmed. Ellery of Brisbane, why not support New South Wales explicitly? I do support New South Wales explicitly. And yeah, I've got my reasons, but I'm saying that, like, me being from Sydney is not particularly a reason for that, because I didn't grow up in Sydney anyway. As they talk towards my Smokey Olivia Koenig from the Roosters, I think she's a decent chance. She'll at least win back row of the year. JRP League is a North Wales Crusaders fan. Hey, no rugby union chat here. Are they rugby union? Oh wait, no, they are a rugby league team. Now I'm thinking maybe they are a lower division rugby league team, and I've just made an ass of myself. Danny, Kezi Apps is the only reason I know the NRLW. Yeah, funny story here. My dad was over in England for the last World Cup, and was in a pub while the women were playing, I think, the preliminary final for the World Cup. And he's next to this guy who's cheering every time Kezi Apps gets the ball. And he turns to the guy and says, hey, you're really, like, excited about Kezi Apps. That's cool. And the guy said, well, I should be. I'm her father. So it was cool. Her dad made the trip all the way over. As we see the leaderboard now for the men's. And as you can see, Jerome Hughes is not there yet. He was far behind. He's got a lot of catching up to do. And like I mentioned, it's not as big a lead as it used to be, because you can now get 6 points for each game rather than 3. But there is some work for him to do. Gary Costa, the Leaguie, if you support the underdogs, you must be a Para fan. Para made the grand final only a few years ago. Can't confirm that. Krishan, Leaguie, I did not see my cousin James Fisher-Harris in the Dally M photos. Is he nominated for the position? I should really just look at who's nominated. JRP, they're in League One or Championship, I think. Yeah, he was. Sorry, they are. That's a shame. I should have known the Crusaders. It just sounds like a rugby union team. North Wales Crusaders. I have a look up Dally M nominees. Because this is just something I should know. Prop of the year, Fisher-Harris is there. He was one of the 5. So your cousin is a chance. Arlo-son, when does the Dally M start? It has started. We're not going to get an answer for quite a while, probably another hour and a half, I would say. But it has started. Krishan, Leaguie, guess who the grand final ref is? I know, it's Ashley Klein. I was surprised, I think like everyone, that Adam G didn't get a lot of love this final series. But it doesn't shock me that Ashley Klein is that head ref, because he was given all the Origin games, obviously. And I do think he's unnecessarily hated because he gets the big games. So inherently, any like minor thing that goes wrong in the big moments, those are going to be put under a microscope. So then it gives off the impression that he's worse than he really is. Buggy says they should do every round and every game one by one, like AFL Brownlow. They do the rounds, I think, a couple at a time. Otherwise, it does, drag out a lot. Tiger says, Lee, here's an Antarctic and icicle support. Up the icicles. Noza, Parramatta, more like pretend to matter. Hey, given that we've said I might be a Parramatta fan, that's very, very rude of you. Can't believe you'd say that. Lancaster, for me, this has been the Hughes and Moses year. Hughes has been the comps top, but Moses has basically replicated Joey's 2005 year perfectly this year, lol. Well, in Origin, he certainly was reminiscent of Andrew Johns. The rest of the season, he was fine, but yeah, I think obviously he won't be high up in the award because he was injured for so much of the year, but Parramatta did have a pretty, rubbish season, so yeah. Noza, JFH and Leota are both nominated for prop of the year. Christian says, hey Leaguie, me and you are both New South Wales Blues fans. Let's go up the Blues. Arlo-san, okay, when does the Dream Team start? If it's already started, I'm sorry, I'm asking dumb questions. Well, it has sort of started because they do the Dream Team by who accumulated the most Dally M points in each position. So we're counting, the points now. They've just said, by the way, so Yo missed 2 games during this period that we're talking about here because of Origin. That's absurd to me. Why we're not giving out points in Origin games, I don't get it. Because it just means that players that are picked for Origin are less likely to be, winning. And I get it's an NRL award, but really Origin is run by the NRL, so yeah. Danny, the amount of Luai hate that will happen because he doesn't get us to the 8 will be ludicrous. Something about how Critter carried the Dogs to a top 6 finish. Yeah, I agree completely. Buggy, but the Brownlow goes for so long because of all the ad breaks, but that might be because it's on Channel 7. Yeah, I don't think we've had an ad break yet. I don't expect we will because it's Fox, but I don't exactly remember. Oh, it's straight away Jerome Hughes pulls 27 points across 6 rounds. Okay, so they're doing it quickly. Wow, Hughes has caught up, and that, you've got to say, changes things. I thought it would take a while before Jerome Hughes catches up, but here we go. Hughes up on 43, DC on 39, James Tedesco on 38. Hughes was deducted 6 points. Deducted 6 points? I didn't even know that was a rule. Is that a new thing? Why are we deducting points? You already can't get points because you're suspended from a game. Why are we... Oh. I'll tell you what. If Hughes deducted 6 there, if he loses this by 6 or less... Oh, man. Controversy. Gary Costa, who's your tip for Clive Churchill's after see a league with Dally M votes? Isaiah Yo. I'll give that as a little smoky prediction. Lancaster, I said it because Joey was out injuries and called in for SOS Game 2, then won Subcorp Game 3 and was injured like Moses. Yeah, Origin 100%. Admittedly, I will say I was a whopping 3 years old in 2005, so that's not a season that I know all too much about. But yeah, I wasn't having a go at you at all. I definitely agree in Origin because I have watched that Origin series. So yep. Chris Ant says Ashley Klein's going to make the grand final worse. One thing you'll learn in watching my content is that I'm not going to disparage referees at all. So you can think whatever you like about referees, and if a referee does genuinely do something bad, puts in a awful performance, I might say something, but I'm a former referee myself. I have refereed in international games over in Europe, so I have first-hand experience of how incredibly hard it is. And really, no one else in the media, I guess I can maybe consider myself part of the media now, no one else has that experience. No one else knows what it's actually like. And certainly the vast majority of people commenting don't know what it's like. So yeah, I won't be negative about that. Carrie says, I think Jerome Hughes will win the Churchill if he doesn't win tonight, as a consolation prize, and it would be a good consolation. I guess me saying it'll be Yo is maybe me saying that I'm tipping Penrith. I think as for Solomona being out does sway that for me. Roosters fan, normally when they hit people at a subs milestone, they do a face reveal. A 3K Leaguie will do a club he supports reveal. I've said that I'll reveal it at a subscriber milestone, but it's going to be higher than 3K. 10K is what I floated before. And now I'm up to the point where you're all reacting to Hughes' deduction. Yeah, that's absurd. I don't get that. Nozza says it used to be 3 points, but they increased it to 6 last year. Well, that would be because now you can earn a maximum of 6 points each game. So the punishment is the same. But damn, that's you know, if Hughes had been suspended for 1 more week, which it is so easy to pick up a 1 week suspension in the NRL. You can breathe in the wrong direction and you'll pick up a 1 week suspension. He would be ineligible for the Dally M. That is how ridiculous that whole suspension thing is. But anyway, Tiger says Patrick Cripps will win the Dally M. Yeah. Lancaster, nope, that's been the case for ages. It's what I pointed out when I said he probably won't win. Well, there you go. I didn't know that. See, this is the thing. I've watched Dally M ceremonies before quite closely, but for some reason they just go in one side and out the other for me. So that's damn. I think that's caught a lot of people by surprise. Even though that rule has been around for a while. Buggy, who will be the next immortal Leaguie? You'd have to say Cameron Smith will be. Personally, and this is as controversial an opinion as you can get, I think a lot of his success was attributed more to, should be attributed more to Cooper Cronk than people are giving Cronk credit for. I think the gap in which people hold Cronk and Smith should be smaller. And I think that is almost signified by the fact that Smith wasn't able to win a premiership while Cronk was still in the comp after Cronk left. He only then was able to win once Cronk retired. So, like, because Smith had leadership, for sure, 100%, but he wasn't individually talented, you know what I mean? So much. He wasn't the most talented guy. So, yeah, I would say him, though. That's my answer. And certainly no disrespect to Cameron Smith. It's just, it's more respect to Cronk. Arlo, you should make a live stream funny moments. That sounds like I would have to go through a hell of a lot of footage. And I'm not sure I'm willing to do that. I don't know if I've had enough funny moments yet. Maybe one day when I'm bigger and I have an editor, I can just get the editor to go through it for me. They're going to decide Captain of the Year for the NRLW now. I'll be quiet for a moment. They're going to announce it. Tiana Penitani from the Sharks. I'm a huge fan of Penitani. She is so well spoken. And she led the Sharks to the greatest start in NRLW history this year, winning their first 6 games. She's now playing in a grand final this Sunday with the Sharks in only their 2nd season of existence. So, well deserved from Tiana there. That's good stuff. Danny, I think Luai is going to lock in finals. He will want to put on a show for his last game at Panthers. I think it all points to Luai getting Clive Churchill. Yep. I think I say stuff to the effect of that in my Panthers video, which will, as I say, hopefully come out tomorrow. But we'll see. Maybe day after. I don't want to leave it too late because obviously there's only so many days till the grand final. Buggy, it's crazier in AFL because you can get suspended for 1 week and be ineligible. You see this with Isaac Heaney. Obviously he didn't win, but still bad. I really don't know anything about the AFL, but I have heard that it's only 1 week there. The difference, I would say, is the AFL fans know the Brownlow as the best and fairest award, right? It's used interchangeably, the best and fairest and the Brownlow. Technically, as I said in my Dally M video, the Dally M is the best and fairest. But no NRL fan would ever refer to the Dally M as the best and fairest award. In fact, Denon Kemp from Bloke in a Bar a few weeks ago straight up said that the Dalian wasn't the best and fairest. He didn't know that it was. So it goes to show that's not what we have here. We have the Dalian as the player of the season. Colloquially, that's what it's known as. So I think we should change that best and fairest thing, because it's not the best and fairest anyway, and that would allow us to get rid of the stupid suspension stuff. They're going to go into Captain of the Year for the NRL now, Harry Grant being the first nominee, taking his Melbourne Storm to the minor premiership in his first season, I believe, of being captain of the Storm. I'm quite confident of that. Isaiah Yeo, another who is a co-captain of Penrith, but obviously led for a lot of this season with Cleary not being in the side. And then you got Stephen Crichton, who was so transformational for the Bulldogs this year. You could see how much he influenced the players around him. And if his leadership quality wasn't as big as it is, I'm confident that they don't do as well as they did this year. So I'd have it be Stephen Crichton personally. And it is Stephen Crichton. There we go. So 2 centres winning Captain of the Year. That's interesting. You don't see that very much. But Stephen Crichton, that's well deserved. That's very, very well deserved. I mean, he's, I think, one of the most likable players in the NRL anyway. And, geez, Bulldogs fans particularly should absolutely love him. Absolutely love him. Lancaster, the NRLW is better than the NRL because more of them wear bows in their hair. Bows in the hair are better than headgear to protect from brain damage. Right, well that's, I mean, I won't dispute the science there. But NRLW is just different to NRL. I mean, obviously it's a lower standard. It's never going to be on the level of NRL, but there are certain things that make the NRLW more entertaining than the NRL. There's a lack of the wrestle, for example. And their quality has improved so much over recent years. Incredibly much. Caleb says you need to do another Buzz Rothfield impression, Leaguie. Okay. I will read out Tiger Walker's comment, which is one after yours, in Buzz's voice.
Bryce, you should make a video at the end of the year having like a highlights reel of your vids this year, because they've just been so good, Leaguie. And I think it's just not good enough that you haven't made a highlights video yet.
There's your Buzz impersonation. I hope you're happy. I added a little bit of mayo there at the end of Tiger's comment, but that's only because Buzz Rothfield adds a little bit of mayo on the end of all of his news stories. So, Caleb bandwagoners are cheering on Critter at the moment. Well, I mean, I think everyone's cheering on Critter at the moment. I'm a neutral and I'm cheering on Critter at the moment. Gus, show live TV, my G. I cannot do that because I do not want to be sued. It's on pay television. I do not have the rights to show that. I have the rights to show me and my reactions to it. Buggy says Appy will definitely be captain next year. No way does Luai overall Appy is captain. Yeah, I think Appy will definitely be captain next season. Not that. It's just not good enough, Lee. Yes, it's just not good enough. Lancaster, not a good Buzz impression, not nearly enough wine. I've got green cordial, if that, if that substitutes. Yeah, Pete, Buzz Leaguey, know your role. Let's stay away from my cards. No, I'll stick to being me. I'll stick to just being the Leaguey, not trying to be Buzz. Caleb, either Serraldo or Bellamy for Coach of the Year. Definitely agree with that. No doubt. It'll be one of those two, and I'm super split on which one of them it should be, because you've got, yeah, I think Bellamy might slightly edge it out for me. They shouldn't take into account the finals, but even though Serraldo did, I guess, exceed expectations with his team, so did Bellamy. Definitely so did Bellamy, and I think when you compare the rosters of the Storm and the Bulldogs on paper, right? Obviously, the Storm spine is way better than what the Bulldogs have. But you look external to that, they're quite similar. They are actually quite similar when you go player for player. Eli Katoa versus Viliami Kikau. Josh Adokar, Xavier Coates. Jacob Kiraz, Will Warbrick. there's not a heap of difference there. So I think Bellamy being as dominant as he was, that's very good. Nozza, Coach of the Year shouldn't be a Most Improved award, but de facto it basically is. Yeah, I mean, that's tough because I think the sign of a good coach is getting more than what is expected out of your roster. So inherently, if you get more than what's expected out of your roster, you will probably have improved from seasons prior. So they kind of go hand in hand. But yes, you all kind of agree that it should be either Bellamy or Serraldo. GRP, Webby will Coach of the Year next year. Up the Waz. We manifest it. I'd love to see Warriors come back. I think everyone would love to see the Warriors come back. Jordan says, it's my birthday on Saturday. Can I get a happy birthday? Happy birthday, Jordan. I hope you have a fantastic one, surrounded by your friends and your family. And good, everyone. Well, okay. Let's get some happy birthdays in the chat for Jordan, a regular viewer. Jordan says, Bellamy's the greatest coach ever, hands down. Argue with a wall. He's the best I've seen in my lifetime. So you won't have a lot of resistance there from me. Gary, do you think Sivo is stronger than Ravalawa? You're comparing two very strong players, but yes. If we're talking about literally physical strength, yeah, I think Sivo's the strongest winger in the Premiership. But it's interesting with both of those players. Sivo in particular, I think, kind of got a bit relaxed on just being the strong guy, you know, with the big highlight moments of bumping off James Tedesco and scoring tries. You have to be a lot more than that in the NRL. NRLW Coach of the Year is Scott Prince of the Broncos. I'll tell you what, I think that's a sign that they don't take into account the finals, because obviously the Broncos did get knocked out, but they made the minor premiership. They won that. We'll see what he says in his speech. I'm sure he'll probably be a bit disappointed with the way the season played out. But a brilliant player, and it's good to see him make that transition into coaching. Shirk loves Wayne Bennett. Yeah, I mean, it's as I say, I only have my lifetime to go off, and Bennett has won, I think, two premierships, because he won with the Broncos when I would have been about 4 years old. But yeah, so I haven't seen him be all that successful. Danny tips Sharks to win premiership next year. That's quite bold. I've got to say, that's quite bold. Nozza, wonder how Warriors spine looks next year. Don't think Tamare Martin and Metcalf will have played together much, but if at all, but could be wrong. Yeah, don't discount Harris Tavita either. I think it will be Tamare Martin and Metcalf, but I mean, you have a preseason with them together. They obviously would have. I mean, they've both been training together a lot, so I would expect that they understand each other's play styles. Tiger Walker says the Premiership winning Tigers 5/8. Yes, that is Scott Prince. Danny, at all time they almost secured fourth, and they forgot how to play on the back end, but all time he did fantastic. Yes, and yeah, Tiger, he won in 2010. Yeah, so I saw him win in 2010, and before that he won in my lifetime, but I didn't see it so much. Danny, Sharks got to win it in 2025 or they don't get another chance for a while. I would be inclined, but I don't know what the way their contracts are organised. I don't know who they have coming off contract next year, but they definitely think that they're in a development phase. So I would expect that they have belief that they can contend beyond 2025. Nozza, I think CHT will be the 14. Metcalf was the first choice 6, and possibly the best goal kicker too. Although I guess Aaron Clark isn't going there. Is going there, isn't he? Yeah. Well, we haven't necessarily seen Aaron Clark always be 14 for the Titans, so he won't necessarily be 14 for the Warriors. It could well be Chanel Harris Tavita. So we'll see. As Nozza says, they might have a surplus of possible 14s. Now NRL Coach of the Year, and we have discussed it in some depth. I think I've given my thoughts. It should probably be Bellamy, but if it's Ciraldo, I can wear that for sure. If it's Ivan Cleary, I will walk out of the room and lose all faith in this Dally M system. Danny says Big Tommy is definitely leaving. Tom Hazelton, you think Tom Hazelton's leaving? He's got to stay there. He's a cult hero in the Shire. Shirk, what is the NRLW Player of the Year in your opinion? My smoky was Olivia Koenig. I think the best player this season in the NRLW was Taryn Aiken, but she was injured towards the back end of the year. So I'm really not too sure. NRL Coach of the Year will be Craig Bellamy. Okay, yes, I think, as I said, that's deserved. That's probably the way that it should be. I think, all things being said. Trying to think of other NRLW players, and Emma Tonegato been very good for the Sharks as well, so that's a big one. She could well get it. Really, aside from that, I mean, Ali Brigginshaw was always in the race, and the Broncos did do very well. But there are a few players like Julia Robinson on the wing for them who might have been taking points off her. Gabriel says, what are you watching it on? Foxtel. It's Foxtel and KO. It's not on free-to-air TV. Danny says, got 8 teams interested in him, Leaguie. Personally, I'm always a little skeptical when people are like, that half the competition is interested when reports say that, because I think it's in the journalist's interest, and especially in the agent's interest, the player agent's interest, to make it seem like there's as many clubs as possible interested in the player. So literally, I think a journalist would be willing to say that, I don't know, if Cameron Ciraldo has ever said the name Tom Hazelton, that all of a sudden the Bulldogs are interested in him. I think he'll stay in Cronulla, personally. I think they took a bit of a chance on him, and it's worked out quite well there. But if it is 8 teams, then it's 8 teams. Lancaster, Bellamy may not win as many games if his players didn't fear what he'll do to their hostages, but they love him and know their places at the same time. Yeah, he's a hard taskmaster, but you cannot argue with results at all. You cannot argue with results. Hala says Ivan Cleary wasn't even there. That's pretty funny. Some people in the chat think it should have been Ciraldo. I can wear Ciraldo. If it had been him, I could have accepted it. But no, in my opinion, Bellamy did extremely well with his roster, especially when you realise that Munster was out for so much of the year. Pappenhausen was out for so much of the year. I think he did just an outstanding job. Jordan's very happy to see his glorious king, Craig Bellamy. Jordan says, League, can we get your second favourite team reveal at 5k? Now that's one I haven't thought about. And then what, just in the gap between 5k and 10k, everyone says that I'm biased towards my second favourite team. Lancaster, the Swans wouldn't have got blown out if they've had him come down the road during halftime to make an example of a few of them. Yeah, as I say, I don't really know all that much about the AFL, but yeah, they did get beat quite heavily, didn't they? Shirk says, I think it should be on free-to-air TV. I don't know why it does not go under the law that says iconic Australian sports must be on free-to-air TV. Well, it's because it's not the sport. It's an awards ceremony. So legally, that's why. And the reason why it's not on free-to-air is that this event is run by Foxtel. It's run by News Corp. It is technically the NRL official Player of the Season award, but it's bankrolled by Fox, and so Fox get the exclusive rights to it. I guess, how are you going to wear Ciraldo? That's not what I mean. You know what I mean. Tiger Walker, imagine if it was Ivan Cleary and they called him up for nothing. Nozar says, if you can't give us a favourite, give us your least favourite team. Maybe that's something I could reveal at 5k. Tiger says 3k. Oh, no. 3k is not substantial enough. 5k means something. Oh, and NRL Edits is here. Good to see you. Jordan says, guys, stop talking about AFL. It's clear NRL is much better. Hey, you won't have the Leaguie arguing with you there. So now that big Rookie of the Year event award, which I think is probably the second biggest award of the night, at least in my opinion. Talking to Greg Alexander, former winner of that award. And we'll see the nominees for that are Jack Bostock of the Dolphins, the winger from the Illawarra region, Kyle Iro, son of Tony Iro of the Sharks, and Ethan Strange from the Raiders. One thing I will say, Ethan Strange struggled for game time towards the back end of the year. Kyle Iro struggled for game time at the front end of the year. Jack Bostock seemed to be quite consistently in first grade. So, if it's Bostock... I mean, anyway, it doesn't matter because Lachlan Galvin was obviously the Rookie of the Year, but, you know, I've said my piece. It is what it is. Danny says... He already said Cronulla is a team he'd remove from the comp. I did not say that. I said I would relocate them from purely a strategic point of view. And in fact, I didn't even say I would relocate them. I said they'd be the team who I'd relocate first. So, yeah, don't read into that too much. Lancaster must suck to get Rookie this year, knowing everyone thinks he basically Bradbury'd and it should have been Galvin. Yeah, I mean... I think your player will be happy. It'll be a nice thing where the history books will not remember it as Galvin. They'll remember it as who won tonight. But definitely for now, I think everyone is going to know. So we're going to start with it, the NRLW Rookie of the Year award. Who I actually might not know a lot of these players because they are obviously in their first year of NRLW. Evie Jones from the Newcastle Knights, the first nominee. I don't know a lot about her. Casey Ree, also, or Ray, it is. I don't know about Casey Ray, so I haven't got much to add here, unfortunately. Nozza says, Iro only missed a handful of games, didn't he? Thought he started every game after like round 4. Yeah, no, he did, but we're talking like 3 or 4 games of head start that he's giving to a guy like Bostock. So even if he played better than Bostock while he was playing, that's quite a lot to chase down if Bostock was earning points. NRLW Rookie of the Year will be Casey Ray of the Dragons. Again, as I say, I'm actually not familiar with Casey Ray, but I'm sure obviously very deserving. Lancaster, I get why the Paris Centre can't get it because preventing successful cross-coders from winning over raised leaguers makes sense, but it sucks a bit. They haven't said that, have they? That plays into it? Surely that's like a suspension thing. I'd love for that to be clarified. But surely it would be in the interest of rugby league to have certain cross-code players win because it shows to, female rugby union players, you can come to the NRLW and you can be successful. That's what I would think. And you're all just going, Galvin robbed, they hate the Tigers. Penatani robbed. It's descending into a bit of madness. That always happens here. NRL Edits has a second channel. What's the second channel called? Lancaster says, yeah, if you cross-code, you can't win Rookie. Well, okay, maybe with Rookie then it's because of the similarity between the two sports. That actually makes a lot of sense because otherwise you'd then potentially have like 29-year-olds who've played a lot of rugby union winning Rookie. So I get that. I'd say it's because they want it to be young girls winning it rather than the sort of established players. Danny going nuts about his Tigers players being robbed. Tiger Walker says, Leaguie, what's your address? I'm going to send you some mustard ice cream. It is, I'm going to say 35 Driver Avenue, which is, I should clarify to anyone who just got excited, that is not my address. Driver Avenue is where NRL headquarters is located. If you're going to send mustard flavored ice cream to anyone, I do not want it to be me. Send it to the NRL. Shirk Leaguie, have you ever seen a proper punch-up in the NRL before? Yeah. Admittedly, they haven't happened in a while, but I'm definitely old enough to remember them. The one that comes to mind was, what year would it have been? Maybe 2017, 2018? Curtis Scott and Dylan Walker. And Curtis Scott got sent off for it, to my memory. I think Dylan Walker might have been sin bin that night in Melbourne. Manly playing the Storm. So the men's rookie of the year, Ethan Strange, who, he was super impressive. And if he'd continued that, he'd be rookie of the year to me. A Dally M rookie of the year, clearly. Bostock, I think a lot of people might be discounting Bostock, but just because he had that more game time, to my knowledge, he might have been out injured at points in the season. But anyway, Noza, Will Warbrick was a candidate last year, despite coming from I don't think he came from AFL. I think he came from Union. But also he was rugby 7, so he was very young. Maybe he didn't play top grade rugby union. And it is Jack Bostock. I'm low-key on fire right now. I predicted try of the year. I predicted tackle of the year. I think I predicted men's captain of the year, and I've predicted rookie of the year for the men's. Not to toot my own horn, but I guess I must be the Leaguie or something. It is always nice not getting something completely wrong, because when I do it certainly brings that name there, the Leaguie, into a bit of question. So it is Bostock. And I suspect, I don't know obviously how all the points played out, but I expect we'd have probably seen a different result if Iro and Strange had played all the games. But, Bostock, good on him. It's like he had a very, very good season. It's like I said in that Dally M video, I don't want to detract anything from the players that win. That's not at all what I'm getting at. I'm just getting at the system. So, yeah. Noz is going to wheel out his nan on the wing. You were the one who said earlier she could do it for Penrith, right? Get her earning that money. And yes, sorry, they're just talking here. Yvonne Sands is mentioning that Jack Bostock is a TikTok star. He does have a very successful TikTok account where he goes through cooking tutorials. It is the most random thing, but I absolutely love it. I love it. We've certainly got Tigers fans going absolutely wild in the chat. None more so than Danny. Says we're allergic to awards. Well, look, Scott Prince, former Tiger, he won the award. You can have that. Where Tedesco might win the Dally M, former Tiger. You got to take the wins where you can get them. Buggy says the only TikTok account athletes have is cooking accounts. Are there other ones? Because I was completely blindsided by the fact that Bostock had a cooking account. I didn't know until quite recently. Teddy says, I got 10 notifications from my friend who was very salty about Kyle Iro not getting it. I suspect, as I mentioned earlier, that it was that period at the start of the year that did it. I'm tempted to just be a little bit quieter now. They're talking about the players that we've lost across the course of the year. Troy Dargan, obviously we saw at the start of this season. Carl Webb. So I won't talk and we'll pay tribute to these guys. Good stuff. Good stuff. I really, really liked the fact that they included Rob Burrow in there, who never played in the NRL. But if you guys haven't heard of the story of Rob Burrow, yeah, JR Pete says rip Rob. Yeah, especially. He had an absolutely outstanding story. Diagnosed with motor neurone disease, but he was an outstanding player. He fought so hard. Kevin Sinfield did so much. The former Leeds Rhino teammate. For Rob Burrow. Truly, those two captured the entirety of England's hearts. And there are parts of England where rugby league nearly doesn't exist, you know, like people do not care about it. It's union territory. But Rob Burrow, his story was that significant. So I really encourage you, if you don't know much about the Rob Burrow story, have a look at it, because it was outstanding stuff. Yeah, I really like that we do that every year. I mean, I'm someone who I often concede my knowledge of rugby league history isn't fantastic. Really, I know the seasons that I've seen in intrinsic depth, but before that, I do struggle. But even with me, quite a lot of the names that I saw there, the likes of, say Carl Webb, are players that have transcended that and that were truly legends of our game. So that's very good stuff. Buggy says, did Devon Sampson ever play footy? No, she's just a broadcaster. She was not one of the former players. And JRP, says Rob was like Matt Bowen, but ran like a forward, but was absolutely fearless. Some of his highlights reels, man, he was such a small player. He was so tiny, and literally he would duck in between players. He would duck around all the big forwards and run through and score tries. I was very, very fortunate enough to actually see him play for Leeds in his prime. And as I mentioned, I didn't see a lot of NRL in person growing up. I watched all the games. I got up at like 6 a.m. to watch the NRL. But in terms of live rugby league in person, it was the Super League for me. And Rob Burrow was I will always remember seeing him play as one of the great players that I've seen. We've now got, for the women, the sort of community service award from Westpac, the Veronica White Medal. And it's Kimberly Hunt who wins that. I mean, I love the fact that it's a testament to the community work that our players do. But yes, that's good stuff. I mean, we always would have had, I think everyone there deserves recognition for what they do. And it is difficult to quantify like goodwill, and say, oh, this person's goodwill was more significant than this person's goodwill. I know, for example, Millie Elliott, formerly Millie Boyle, her younger sister has Down syndrome, and so she does a lot with the Down syndrome community. Things like that, which you won't hear about. You know, they're just footy players to us, but they do a lot of stuff behind the scenes. Cameron McInnes' son has autism. It's things like that. They're people as well. NRL Edit says, do you have a team or can't ask? You can ask whatever you want, but no, I can't answer. But yeah, I see that message being deleted by JRP. We don't need to be deleting messages, guys. It's okay. I'm happy for people to ask. Shrek says, League, did you ever play junior or amateur rugby league? Technically, yeah. Not for very long. I played under sixes, but I moved across to the Netherlands when I was 6, and they don't have junior rugby league there. JRP says, sorry, didn't mean to delete the message. All good, no worries. Yeah, so I couldn't play junior rugby league. And they had senior rugby league. I've gone frozen. Can you still hear me? I think my internet just cut out for a moment there, because my footage as well also went frozen. Oh, we've got Garfield. It's okay, it'll fix itself in a moment. Yeah, I just had my internet cut out there for a moment. You can hear me though. Yeah, okay, here I am. Lancaster says, I quit after the 13s because we were terrible. I got mercy ruled more games than not, just went and became a ref. Instead, it's good that we got a fellow referee here in the chat. Yeah, and of course, I mean, there's such a shortage of referees at the lower levels of the game. So people who made that choice, like you, it's often a tough choice. It's a very, very thankless job. But yeah, we need referees. There's no game without referees. So that's good stuff. Buggy says, I'm a ref too. It's hard. Yeah, it's hard. Hey, JRP, don't worry too much about deleting the messages by accident. It'll happen. Not a big deal. NRL Edit says, hi, I haven't seen you on this since 1998. Well, I haven't been streaming since then. I've just seen the Garfield love in the chat from Caleb, Tiger, and Danny. It's literally just the app I use. Like, I don't control what image comes up. I don't know why it's an orange cat, why it looks like Garfield. But yeah, when the I guess camera stream cuts out and the feed stops, it goes to Garfield. So yeah. Lancaster says, my whole family became referees. Only Dad stuck with it long term. He's actually trained several referees and in the top grade right now, and works with Lockie Galvin's brother. That's super cool. Your dad's doing very, very good work doing that. I'm really, really happy to hear instances like that. Krishan Leaguie, I found most of the NRL players on TikTok. There we go. I actually don't have TikTok, so I'm an Instagram person. But yes, it doesn't surprise me that a lot of them haven't. So now we've got that same community service style award for the men's. Talking about Ruben Cotter's work with the Indigenous Australian community. Obviously, an Indigenous man himself. Buggy says that he's met a lot of referees, Adam G and Todd Smith. And yes, completely correct. I think it's good that for people to know that the ref's name... Sorry. I think it's good for people to know the ref's name because it humanizes them. 100% for sure. Danny says, I kid you not, the first comment on the Instagram post on Rookie of the Year is Luke Brooks robbed, and I wholeheartedly agree. If it was anything other than Luke Brooks robbed, I'd be disappointed in the NRL community. Shrek. Bro, I hated being a ref, even when playing at my school when I was younger, and everyone would complain about everything, like it was a forward pass or knock on, and it was just at lunchtime too. Yeah, I refereed like a proper game that we had once in high school PE. We were playing touch rugby, and I said, look, I'm a referee. I'd like the opportunity to get a bit of practice in. Can I referee instead of playing? And my God, people who I was like, I thought I was friends with were saying the most absurd things to me, the most out of pocket stuff, the most offensive things. It was like, it's years ago now, so I can't remember word from word, but one guy was literally like, I can't believe the state of this refereeing. I'm like, bro, James, we were friends. What is this? Anyway, Nico Hines wins the award. Sean Lane and Brian Kelly not in attendance. And it is Nico Hines. Nozzle says Cotter robbed. Well, as I say, it's really hard to say one person's goodwill is more deserving than another's, but there are very few more likable players than Nico Hines. There's a reason why when I was asked who my favourite players were, he was one of them. So I've met Nico before. He's an outstanding individual, as you'd expect. And to pull off a white suit like that, that's impressive work. That's good stuff. Danny says, Nico wants something, my days. Yeah. But no, yeah, they appropriately said, what an ambassador for our game he is. He is such a good role model. Buggy says Nico has class but needs new hair. People either think Nico is stunningly beautiful or, not. Actually quite unattractive. I feel like there's no in between. JR Pizza's rugby union referees get more respect. I'm definitely not disagreeing with you, because as I don't have a lot to do with union, but sports fans do often have this illusion that referees in their sport are worse than referees in other sport. And I'm not saying that you're falling victim to that whatsoever. I'm talking very, very generally. Like football fans, for example, say that rugby referees are fantastic, right? Absolutely fantastic. Whereas rugby fans might not be saying the same thing. Buggy says rugby union refs get more respected because the class are better because all the refs talk to each other. I mean, rugby league refs definitely talk to each other. They communicate with earpieces during the game, and they are a team. They have, like, you know, pre-season training like the NRL clubs do. So I wouldn't say that that's something that you know, they struggle with. Danny says, I've never yelled at a ref once in a game I've played. Watching a Tigers game, have my moment. That's fine. I understand getting carried away in the moment with your team. But yeah, particularly in games that are being played by us, when the referee is, you know, just like us, a little local guy, yeah, it's definitely good to not be, you know, well, to ensure you're respectful towards him, pretty much. Lancaster, I do feel that the closeness between players and refs is far too much. Need distance, you reckon? I mean, it's obviously way better than we see in soccer where everyone crowds around the ref. We do have a pretty strict rule that only the captain's allowed to talk to the referee in league, and so yeah, I think we do that quite well. But every now and then we do see that kind of a little bit not overruled, but not adhered to, let's say. But yeah, it's never a big deal. As we say, highlights of Tyrell Sloan from that game where the Dragons beat Melbourne in Melbourne. What an outstanding game! Like over the course of a season, that one just stands out. Like, how on earth did that happen? And it says, no hate to Tigers fans. Why did Para win 60-26? Go Para. I mean, that game was somewhat closely contested, but see, I didn't watch like the last 20 minutes because I was attending the game after that, the Rabbitohs versus Roosters game. But yeah, I mean, two sides with really like not a lot to play for, even though it was the Spoon Bowl. So yeah. Danny says, well, my teammate got sent off for yelling at the ref, and that taught me a damn lesson. Tell you that. Yeah, good. The referee should have done that. Can't be taking any disrespect. JRP, I think league fans feel entitled on being right. Gutho's a good example of having a respectful argument with the ref, and Gutho goes into it. He will not die wondering. But yeah, absolutely. As I said in my video on the NRL's referee crisis, we have a way of calling grey area things as objective and clear, and of course, you know, that's going to make the system seem worse than it is. We're going to see the NRL leaderboard updated now. Isaiah Yeo, 4 points over the course of I think 4 games here. Hamaso gets 5. Nice. So he might well, Buggy says, why are you attending at Leaguie? I attend a heap of NRL games. I attended, like, over the last 3 years, I've attended well upwards of 100 NRL games. So you're probably asking because you think I support the Rabbitohs or the Roosters. That did not play into it. So Edwards doesn't poll. Drinkwater stays in fit. See, Drinkwater's always there. Turbo Tom. Oh, gets 18. That's big. That's big. DCE only gets 2. That's probably not enough over that long period of time to keep up with Teddy and Hughes. 7 is what he would expect, but Hughes, does he extend? He doesn't extend. And we've got a gap of 2. We've got a gap of 2. Lancaster says, man, I really am offended by players kicking a 2-point field goal in golden point. Score a try or kick a 1-pointer. The 2-pointer feels weird. Oh, look, you kick a field goal from wherever you can kick them from. In golden point, you just score points however you can. So, yeah. Nozza says, wish Queensland teams would take more games to the regions like the New South Wales teams do. May as well change teams to the Queensland Capras at this rate. That would be good. That would be good. We see it a little bit. Mostly though, it was after, was it the 2021? No, 2020 season when they all moved into the bubble up in Queensland. I know quite a few of the clubs then took games afterwards to the places in which they were playing. I know the Roosters took some games to Mackay after that. I know Melbourne played back at the Sunshine Coast, I think. So I think we're about to see now. I mean, they're showing highlights of Hughes and Tedesco. I think we are down to those two. We might be about to have our winner. We've had a lot of other awards. And we are very much approaching 2 hours, so I think we're going to see our winner here. Lancaster says Daddy has a few average games from here. Hopefully it's enough for Hughes to break. What have we got? Yo on 3. Okay, so he might win Lock of the Year. Ben Hunt gets 3. Drinkwater gets 4. He's up there again. Yeah, Buggy says Team of the Year got to be announced. Yeah, that'll be after. That's how we end. DCE 5. Okay, here we go. Jerome Hughes. 4 is not very much. I think today's won it. Oh, it's just 1 round. Oh. Okay. No, fair enough. Oh, I thought Hughes had taken 4 points from round 24 to the end of the year. This is the problem when they do it by multiple rounds at a time and you're live streaming, you're not paying enough attention. This is the thing. Hughes says he is nervous now. I think, I mean, okay, as I said, I attended that Rabbitohs Roosters game in the last round. I think that would be a 6-point game for Teddy. I'm trying to think of other big games. See, the big thing is that people thought Sam Walker and Angus Crichton would be taking points from Tedesco. Walker was injured in round 25, I believe. I think it was with 2 weeks to go. So he's now, that influence is gone. So Teddy is in a spot, but I hope it's Hughes. I do hope it's Hughes. He's the one that deserves it. But I've got to say, there is a part of me that's like, if Hughes does win, then the video that I made a couple days ago where I'm like, Jerome Hughes will not win the Dally M. There's a little bit of credibility that I lose. So, Shrek says, Leaguie, what tackle hurts the most for you? To me, it's landing on my hip. Because in under 12s, this kid just picked me up and drove me into the ground and landed on my hip. Yeah, I have not really played a game of rugby league in my life. Maybe I shouldn't have said that, because some people think you have to have played rugby league to be able to talk about it. But, I mean, as I say, I've been involved with the sport my entire life. But yeah, I haven't actually properly been tackled by, another human man. Teddy gets only 2 points from round 25. Could be better for him. Hughes gets 5. That's big. That's big now. 2 rounds to go. That could actually be it. Nozza says Angus will get 6 points for the Titans game. Which round was that? Was that this round? Angus said Grant just took points Hughes needed. I don't know. I think Hughes was that 5 compared to 2. I think that's pretty close. That's pretty close to it being done. Dally M medal. See, my Smokey Liv Koenig. She's there in second. Nozza says Storm lost to Cowboys, Roosters lost to Raiders. That's true, and I guess, well, Hughes didn't play in that Cowboys game, did he? But I don't think Teddy would have picked up points anyway. Nozza says, I think Hughes more likely to get a point or 2 than Teddy in round 26. No, I think Teddy played a 6 game in round 26, personally. So Julia Robertson of the Broncos now shoots up the rankings. Simaima Taufa of the Raiders goes up as well. Abby Church with a powerful 5 there. That's taken her into contention. Koenig, 6 points. My Smokey. I'm getting way more excited about the NRLW section of it than I should. I know, I just... Because you never hear anyone talk about Olivia Koenig, and I was like, I really like her, so... Just saying, if Olivia Koenig wins Dally M NRLW player, I think I've earned the title of the greatest NRLW pundit out there. Lancaster, this is going down to the wire, and it really shouldn't. 6-point deduction's actually going to decide this. Buggy, come on, man. It's so obvious you're a Roosters fan. You're cheering Olivia and Teddy. I literally said I wanted it to be Hughes that wins. What is these accusations? I'm cheering Olivia because I think Olivia Koenig deserves to win it. And I'm cheering for Hughes because I think Hughes deserves to win it. Buggy says, yeah, buddy, sure. Hey, check the tape. You can rewind and say, I literally said, I hope it's Hughes. Caleb Roosters fan confirmed. And by the way, I'm still here. You guys have confirmed that I support pretty much every team in the NRL, so maybe. No, he says all I hear is yep. So we've got the NRLW awards now. Oh my god, Isabel Kelly from my beloved Sydney Roosters has won. I said that in a sarcastic voice before any of you take that literally. Tiana Penitani, there we go. I mean, she was outstanding. Obviously, won captain of the year. Well deserved. Penitani. User from Welly, where do I watch? If you're from Welly, as in Wellington, I have no idea. I don't know where it's being shown in New Zealand. But it's on Foxtel here in Australia and KO. Zahara Temero, look at that hat. She wore a hat last year, I think. I don't know why, but she's got style, Zahara Temero. Danny, I've been suspended because I knocked someone out. Jesus Christ, okay. Noza, if Teddy gets 4 points in round 26, I think he edges out Hughes. I'm trying to remember who they played in round 26. What was round 26 the Raiders game? Yes, it was, I think. I don't think Teddy's going to be getting 4 points. I don't think Teddy's going to get any points from that game. I think it will be Raiders players. I truly think that difference that we saw in the last round between 5 for Hughes and 2 for Teddy is what will mean Hughes wins. So Millie Elliott wins the prop of the year after we saw Keely Davis win hooker before that, and it's Shannon Marto as the other front rower. Lancaster, the Dally W, is that what we're calling it? It's kind of funny because some of them are still a bit injured, so they're all dressed up and a bit limping. Last year, one was in a stunning dress and a boot. It was funny. Yeah. Caleb, my boy, crushing on Zahara Temera. You gotta at least spell her name correctly, bro. If that's my crush, I'm absolutely going to enforce that her name is spelled correctly in my chat. Nah, she's got good style though. Yasmin Clydesdale, former Bronco, now with Newcastle, wins second rower of the year. Noza Hughes could also miss out due to Warbrick in round 27. That's true. That's true. I think that lead now is a lot. It's a lot to for Teddy to catch up with. So I expect that it will be Hughes now. Danny, oh, this is the play that he knocked out. He hit me head high, so I got knocked out for 4 seconds. I got back and didn't even know where I was. I grabbed the guy by the collar and punched him straight in the face. Okay, yeah, obviously not your proudest moment. That's look, fair enough. I guess yeah, we live and we learn. JRP, give us a buzz impression when the Dally M gets announced. What, you want me to say that it's just not good enough that whoever wins has won? I think Noz is correct. It's gonna be damn close, and the tie prediction could come true. The tie prediction could well and truly come true. So there's our NRLW team of the year. So one of those players will win the NRLW. Dalian. So unsurprisingly, it's Tedesco fullback of the year. We would have all known that, just as we know that Hughes will be halfback of the year. Lancaster, I swear to God, if it happens 2 years in a row where a fullback edges the right player up by 1 point in the last game, I'm going to lose it. Lancaster, Lomax, my G, has matured so much this year. Yeah, he deserves that winger of the year. Jordan says, is it close to your bedtime now? Absolutely not. I'm a big boy. I do not go to sleep at 9:30. Con Sardulius, mate, it's me again. I'm taking a sleep in, so yeah, bro, thanks for making my day. I'm very glad that you're so happy that someone can pronounce your surname. Thanks for hanging out, man. Stephen Crichton, centre of the year. That's again, I would say also quite expected. Very, very well deserved. He's been outstanding this season. And I think I missed out on a winger there when I was reading chat. Herbie Farnworth being the other centre. What winger did I miss out on? I saw it was Lomax. But yes, Herbie's really transformed into an elite centre over the last couple of years. And it is Tom Dearden, Nozza. Let's go. That's very well deserved. Toto was the other winger. Okay, yeah, that's again also well deserved and very good considering. Yeah, he's competing as people for points. Sia Con, halfback of the year. Jerome Hughes, surely. Yes, it is. Good on Tom Dearden, man. It was not so long ago that he was almost a failed talent at the Broncos. Con says, when are you streaming next? Hard to say. It'll be for the Pacific Championships. And Buggy, yes, it was Teddy at fullback. So Harry Grant, hooker. Danny says, look, I would have gone if Cleary wasn't dead. No one's changing my mind. I mean, look, can't take away from Dearden. Happy Rob, says Buggy. The show, Joe Tarpany in the show, AFB. I guess we know who's winning the next bit. It's going to be AFB because they've got the camera already on him. It just cut to the wrong one. Bold predictions. Yeah, here we go. At least they've acknowledged it. So there we go. Another sign of the strength of rugby league in New Zealand. I know Adam Fanua plays for Tonga, but I'm pretty sure he's Kiwi eligible. So, yeah. Second row, Angus Crichton from the Roosters again. I think that's probably quite expected. I mean, if we're having a most improved player award, I thought his career was like done, you know. So for him to have had the season that he did was good. And Eli Katoa, yeah, those have been the two best back rowers in the competition this year. By far. At Katoa as well, particularly an impressive rise. And Isaiah Yeo wins Lock of the Year. Mr. Consistent, Mr. 8 out of 10 at the worst. I was listening to the Bloke in a Bar podcast today and they're talking about whether he's one of like the best locks ever, and you can't argue against it. Con, thanks for subscribing. I appreciate that, man. Danny would have had Nikora selected. I think he'd probably be my third option there, but Angus and Eli Katoa, I think, have been a step above the rest of the pack for this year. Here we go. Dally Messenger the Third. Okay, that's pretty cool that they've got the blood of the original Dally M to present the medals. Who's it gonna be? And yes, Buggy, it was all class from Yo. He's a classy individual. Of course it does. Yes, it comes from the Team of the Year. So Lauren Brown is ruled out. Krishania AFB won Prop of the Year. Lancaster says Koenig looks likely. We'll see. We'll see. Good night, Con. Mama Taufa only gets one, so she's out of contention. You can see Abby Church was really nervous there. Oh god, they're having a laugh about it. Olivia Koenig playing Abby Church in the last round. Koenig got no points. Koenig got no points. Abby Church. Bruv. Bruv. What can I say? I know my NRLW. I know my NRLW. I'm going to be so aggressively humbled when Hughes wins the Dally M in like about a minute and a half. So I'm just going to take in this moment as much as I can. I know my NRLW. Let's go. Lancaster, you've been on the top tonight, which is bad for Hughes. I mean, yeah, I have very much, I think, flipped on that now. As I said, I think that lead that he has is going to be hard to overcome, but for sure, coming into it, I didn't think he would. Buggy keep the video, but change the title of the Dally M video. Well, I don't say in the title that he doesn't win the Dally M. It's just the very first thing I say in the video. This is a cool part of the night, you know, seeing the winner. Obviously, you know, reacting so positively. It is a dream for them to get it done. So, congratulations, Olivia Koenig. Krishan reckons Teddy will win the Dally M. Yeah, the thing that makes me think he's not going to win is firstly that lead, but also I can't see him getting points in round 26 against the Raiders. Jordan says, Leaguie, do you have any good jokes? All of them sort of deprecate the West Tigers, and that's like half of my fan base, so I don't think it's in my interest to be doing that. Lancaster, it's the cool part until someone gets robbed by the terrible system. Yeah, I mean, it's like Phil Gould said, you have to take it for what it is, don't you? And they've cut to Olivia Koenig's mum there. Oh, and it is true. Sorry, they've just mentioned, I don't know if any of you guys listen to the Upfront podcast. It's a podcast that Millie Elliott, Keely Davis, and Olivia Koenig all do together because they live together. So it's cool that all three of them are in the team of the year. That's going to be a very celebratory household this evening. Arlo says it was so cool to see the team of the year play. A hell of a dream team. Lancaster, so when do we see the Tigers get the Dally M award for most sin bins? No, it's best and fairest, remember? That's technically what we call it, so we can't be having that. Buggy, NRL Team of the Year versus Premiers for the real Premiership. Krishan League, you didn't tell me Teddy won the fullback. Oh, I thought I mentioned it. I said at the time when he came up, as we expected, it would be him. Okay, here we go. So round 26. I think this could well decide it here. Will Teddy get any points in round 26? Will Hughes get any points in round 26? Hughes is a good chance, I think, but Teddy, no. Jerome Hughes gets... Oh my god, that was the game he was rested. I thought we've already had that game. My bad. Obviously, he wasn't going to get points. Gets 2 points. I truly did not think that was going to happen. Okay. See, I think, as I said, that Teddy played a 6 in the last round. They've said Roosters first. I think that means Hughes has won. Because they'll announce the Hughes bit at the end, right? Surely. 6 points. I said he played a 6. I said he played a 6. Hughes has got some work to do here. Storm, they did smash the Broncos, to be fair. 3 tries. Surely he got a 6. Yeah, he's got a 6. Hughes has got a 6. There we go. It is Jerome Hughes. It is Jerome Hughes. Jeez, I'll tell you what, though. I will tell you what. By 1 point, he was so clearly the best player this season. We have seen justice. I know nothing about rugby league. It's over. My career is over. Oh, they do say even broken clocks are right twice a day. That is well and truly deserved. Obviously, you know, full respect to James Tedesco. He had a very, very good season. After a lot of people calling for him to retire last year. So he did very well this year, but this is absolutely the right outcome. Well and truly. Buggy said, when would a broken clock be right? Yeah, like an analog clock when it's frozen at one spot. It's right twice a day. Buggy's going to hop off. All good. See you later. On a completely different note, right? After we saw a Kiwi player, a lot of people would say robbed of the Dally M last year. This is a really good moment for New Zealand and New Zealand Rugby League that one of their players has come through and won the Dally M. That's very good work from him. So, yeah, for anyone from New Zealand who's stayed up super late to watch this, I'm glad that you guys got your reward. Krishan's got a good NRL joke. Okay, well, come on, hit us with it. Lancaster had such an amazing season when he managed to win despite losing 6 points, getting rested, and having the favourite / top team disadvantage. Amazing. This is justice. This is justice. This is well and truly justice. Yeah. I mean, he did, as I mentioned earlier, what I called flaw 1 is less true for him this year because of how much time Munster, Pappenhausen, and even Grant through Origin spent outside of the team. But it's very much, you know, still something he would have had to contend with. So, good stuff. Melon, thank you for your support. I appreciate that, my friend. I sort of want to let Hughes talk and let you guys hear Hughes more than, you know, me. I'm so glad that this is the way that it's played out. He did, by the way, he had a remarkable story, Jerome Hughes. He debuted in 2013 and was just in the wilderness at the Cowboys and the Titans, and wasn't till 2017, I believe, with the Storm. Rich's fan says, I'm disappointed Teddy missed out, but as I said before, Teddy never deserved it over Hughes. Agree. Aussie edits, Jerome Hughes has won the Dally M. Can confirm. Arla says, I was talking to my granddad who lives in New Zealand, said that a lot of the people are getting bored of you and it's starting to go to League. That's good. Very good. Krishan, Leaguie, what is r/NRL? It's a wonderful community of people on Reddit, the NRL's Reddit page. Caleb says, wish we kept him. I mean, yeah, look,
I don't think he becomes. In fact, I'm quite confident he does not become the player that he is now if he stays with the Cowboys. You know, Melbourne, we know, get the best out of these players. So yeah, I wouldn't be caught up on that. Don't worry about it. So, Jerome Hughes from the NRL, Olivia Kernick from the NRLW, and we are going to get the haka. Will Warbrick, I think, is leading this one. I'll be quiet throughout this. Appreciate it was Will Warbrick who led that. Roosters fan says, I have a feeling Hughes is going to flop in the GF. We'll see. We'll see. Aussie edits, what did Dylan Edwards come? Or is there any of my Panthers boys in the top 10? They haven't shown the top 10. We might see it in a moment. But yeah, I don't think Dylan Edwards polled very much. Tears of joy, says Lancaster. Yeah. I mean, okay, very much egg on my face after the claim I made at the start of my Dally M video. But as I said, you know, history told us Hughes wasn't going to win, and so I'm very glad that history was wrong today, because he was the best player this season, absolutely deserved that award. If you guys want to walk over to my Dally M video and clown me in the comments, feel free. That's all right. I'll wear that. And I'm sure a lot of people will. But it's that's a very good Dally M ceremony. That's a good Dally M ceremony. I'm glad I got my smoky for the girls, Olivia Kernick. And I'm glad that the men got the outcome that is well and truly correct and well and truly deserved. Aussie Edit says the NRL gods have gifted us Leaguie. Well, certainly not going to go around saying I'm a gift from the gods, but you think whatever you like, my friend. Okay, well, hell of a ceremony, guys. It's rather late at night, so I'll probably be ending the stream quite soon. Noza says, anyone know who won the women's Proven Summons? If you mean the women's like the women's Dally M, it was Olivia Kernick. Proven Summons, is that the community award? There's so many awards with so many names of people. I get confused, to be honest. Roosters fan, I understand where you're coming from in the Dally M bid, yeah. And I'd like to say definitively, tonight does not prove any of the points I made wrong. I'd stand by what I say about the system. It can be right, and tonight it was right, but the system is still wrong, I would say. Leaguie, any other streams coming up? So I'm attending the grand final, so I can't stream that. I will do the best I can to stream as much as the Pacific Championships as I can, but it's going to be a very busy period in my life. So with exams and everything. So we'll see. Okay. I think I'll Matthew Langford, were you a bit worried about Teddy there? I mean, worried. I don't know if that's the right. I mean, I was worried from Hughes' perspective for sure. Once I saw that Teddy got points in round 26, I actually thought at that point, you know, Teddy then gets 6 afterwards. But once I heard and remembered that Hughes had scored a hat-trick in that last game, yeah. So congratulations to Jerome Hughes. JRP Leaguie, would you stream the Super League Grand Final? Oh, that very much depends on what time of day it is. Normally I watch the Super League Grand Final on replay,
So if it's at some ungodly hour of the morning, I wouldn't be getting up for it. But any streams I do, you will see announced. You'll see come up as YouTube videos for you. So yeah, you'll see throughout the week. Okay, guys, I'm going to end it there. Thank you for coming along. Thanks for hanging out. That was a very fun stream. First time I've streamed anything other than a game, and yeah, it was just lovely to chat with all of you. I'm so appreciative of all of your support. I genuinely mean that. So thanks for coming. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you later. What can you say about Abby? He's just incredible.